I'm not going this way as far as I can.
Good evening. Welcome to the Tuesday, November the 12th Board of Works meeting. We'll call to order, and the first item on the agenda will be Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the next, first item we've got here is the approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
Got the roll call.
Oh, roll call, yes. Everyone's here except the mayor is absent. Rob Shine's not here, but he has a stand-in. And everyone else is in attendance. So the first item will be approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? If so, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So move.
Second.
Second by Dick Robinson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same side. Motion carried, minutes are approved. So we'll move on to department head reports. First will be the police department. Chad?
Good evening, Board. Since our last meeting, the police department has responded to 569 calls for service. 20 people have been arrested in that same time frame for the following crimes. 6 were wanted on a warrant, 2 for operating a vehicle while intoxicated, 2 for possession of marijuana, 2 for possession of meth, 1 for dealing meth, 1 for possession of narcotic, 2 for theft, 2 for domestic battery, and 2 for operating while never licensed. In that same time, 9 handgun permits were sent on to the state for final approval. On November 6th, 7th, and 8th, the police department put on EVOC training, emergency vehicle operations training. Along with that, they did stops training, which is using tactics on traffic stops. It was really good training. Over the next 3 days, all of the law enforcement agencies in the county will be going to the old Wolf Run golf course and doing live fire training in their old clubhouse. It's a rare opportunity for our officers to get to use their tactics along with live firing and clearing buildings. So it's a good thing. That's all I have for tonight.
Okay, very good. Board have any questions for the chief? Public? Okay, thank you, chief. Next up is the fire department.
Good evening, everyone. Since the last Board of Works meeting, Lebanon Fire has made 137 emergency calls of service, performed 38 commercial inspections, installed 2 car seats. We logged 320 training hours, and we participated in 2 public education events. Our engineers process is complete. John Banker, Gabe Westerfeld, John Thompson, Chris Wiley, Tyler Aguirre, and Jared Orem will be appointed to the rank of engineer on January 1st of 2020. Jason Hendricks has accepted the promotion to lieutenant. Lieutenant Hendricks will be promoted at the December 9th City Council meeting. Can't say enough about Jason Hendricks, one of the strong leaders of our department. We're excited for him to move up through the ranks, and he exemplifies everything that is good about the fire service, so very proud of him. Firefighters Alex Knipp, Jacob Fussell, Tyler Aguirre, and Jerry Seymour are finishing up their Fire Officer 1 certification. This has taken about a month and a half. It's a very intense class. They'll be done around the 2nd or 3rd of December. This is a certification that we require our firefighters to get if they're going to move up into the ranks, and also to be a ride-out officer, and that's what these gentlemen are striving to be. Very happy with their performance so far. Next week, we are hosting 3 evenings of live fire training. We've invited the Center Township Fire Department, Whitestown, and the town of Advance to participate in this live fire training. This will also count as mutual aid and night training towards our ISO certification. Training will focus on truck company operations, breaching, search, and fire suppression. This month, I am teaching classes on a regional response guideline. We have been working with Zionsville Fire, Whitestown Fire to put together this response guideline. It's in essence speaking the same language, using the same tactics. We've been working towards this for a year. The document is finally live. It'll be live December 1st, so we're going through all the logistics of this new response guideline. Very happy with it. I think it'll streamline service between the 3 departments, including Center Fire, responding in and out of our territory. That's all I have for this evening.
Okay. Any additional questions from the board for the chief? No? Thank you, Chief. Next up is Parks Department, John Messenger.
Good evening. I just wanted to say our construction at Memorial Park is right on track, progressing very well. Put in all the foundation along with the heating elements, the electric and the plumbing, moving along real well, both on the restroom and the addition to the barns. We did a little work, tore out the old failing concrete walls in the dugouts at Memorial Park at the baseball field. Had a couple volunteers come out, JR and Phil, that did all the block work for us, laid about 400 block. Want to thank them for their work. We put new drainage in and looking really well. So we filled that in before this cold snap hit. Cleaned up all the beds and the flowers at the parks, all the parks, downtown Gene Haas building. Also winterized everything. We have 3 sprinkler systems. Gene Haas, Memorial Park, we have 2. We have 1 at the baseball field and the pool. We winterized those. All the restrooms are closed for the season. Obviously, with 9-degree weather, you don't want any running water, so it's all winterized. And the youth football field at Abner Longley, too, is all winterized and buttoned up for the winter. We also closed the conservation. I just want to be sure everybody knows not to do any ice fishing on the hot pond, that this cold spell is not enough. It's not allowed, and there's no wading, no fishing this winter. So just stay away from the pond, and we'll all be happy, and everybody stay safe. We removed about 4 trees, cut up some firewood for the cabin rentals this winter. The Christmas lights are going up next week. We have a couple programs coming up. Turkey trot on Thanksgiving morning, 5-10K. November 28th, that is, 7:30 to 8 o'clock in the morning is registration. All the money stays here locally. It goes to the Shalom House, feeds the hungry people. So if you could get out, donate if nothing else, or if you want to work off some of that calories before you eat them all up that afternoon, go for it. Also, our Christmas in the cabin will be from 9:30 to 1 p.m. and Christmas parade 8 o'clock. I think Missy's going to talk about closing downtown. We've tied up with Mischief on Meridian again this year on Saturday, December 7th. Christmas parade registration's open. Please sign up through the park's office if you'd like to enter a float. The cost is only $5 per float, and our carriage ride sign-ups are now open. Spots are very limited, so if you could give us a call at 765-482-8860 or stop out the park office and sign up for a carriage ride. I want to thank all the veterans yesterday, Veterans Day, and thank you for all your service and everything you've done too. Just wanted to throw that out there, and that's all I had.
Okay, thank you, John.
Thank you.
Any additional questions from the board?
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John. Next up is the Engineering Department. Kevin?
Good evening, board members. Engineering report for this week. Looking at the project downtown, obviously things are nearing completion. We're working on punch list items, particularly on Phase 6, which is the area west, Main Street west of Lafayette Avenue. Those drainage punch list repairs have been completed since we last met. Also happy to report the fencing around the ARC building is in, with the exception of one panel that's left off to maintain access until we can wrap up the final grading and landscaping of that area, which hopefully we'll still have a window. It looks like next week we'll get some temperatures back into the 50s and we'll melt this snow off and we can finish getting some grading done and maybe even get some of the last remaining pieces of sod down. Jumping over to State Road 39, Happy to report that all the sidewalks are now in. The only thing left to do is the decorative paver area that goes between the back of curb and the sidewalk. On Meridian Street, we did complete all the curbs at the intersection of State Road 32, and we have been working on the northwest quadrant of curb and sidewalk replacement. When I say the northwest quadrant, I'm talking about the west side of Meridian Street, north of the alley, between the alley and Main Street. That sidewalk has essentially been re-poured, and we'll continue to work our way to the other quadrants on that block until we finish up those sidewalks. We also poured over the weekend the 2 alley entrance aprons as well. Work expected before we meet again. I expect that we will wrap up the final signage on Phase 6. In fact, it's scheduled to be done this week. We're also scheduled for next week to do the light pole foundations on State Road 39 and the decorative pavers along 39. Jumping over to Meridian Street, we'll continue on sidewalk demolition and sidewalk replacements, hoping to wrap that up right around the end of the month. We'll see how weather continues to cooperate. So work expected to be completed yet this fall. We do expect to finish up all the work on Meridian Street, from Main Street all the way south to the intersection of State Road 32. We do expect to complete all the work on State Road 39. Including the lighting and the street furniture and other items that go in there. Work that we know we'll have to finish up in the spring would be the resurfacing of Meridian Street. I just don't think we're going to have a window with temps above 45 degrees when we can do that work, especially given the fact we really need to complete the curb work first. So that's definitely something that we'll look to do as soon as the weather breaks in the spring. I remind everyone to continue to look for updates. The Heart of Lebanon still is doing great work, updating their Facebook page daily with what's happening downtown, so continue to look at that, continue to support our downtown businesses. We just thank you everyone for their patience as we work through this project. We are near the end though. Indianapolis Avenue, Phase 2. Work completed since we were last here. We completed all the subsurface drainage along Phase 3. We've also put in the stone subgrade on Phase 3. We were actually scheduled to pave Phase 3 yesterday, but obviously the weather did not cooperate. So we're looking to do that work next week as we get warmer temperatures. Probably not much will happen this week as we get freezing temps almost every day. So we'll look to Monday and Tuesday to do curb work next week, intermediate asphalt paving towards the end of next week, and we're still hopeful that we are open to two-way traffic sometime before we get to the holiday. Work then, after that, we will continue to try to work as weather allows, but essentially I feel like it will be next spring before we complete the following items, which would be the walks, the driveways, the landscaping, lighting, the final surfacing, striping. But really most of that work is weather dependent and we'll have to wait till the spring. A couple other project notes. East Street, our final warranty tree replacements were all completed last week, so essentially we are done with any remaining work on East Street. The northern interchange, unfortunately we did get an announcement today, and actually just a few minutes ago we got the official announcement, but we were not a recipient of the 2019 build grant funds. So we were not successful there. We will continue to work with our partners at NDOT and our consultants to figure out other funding strategies, but the build grant is, at least for 2019, is just not in the cards. I am happy to report, though, that NDOT was successful in getting money from the feds for work within Boone County, about $16 million for upgrades at 65 and 267. Upgrades at 65 and the Whitestown Parkway, and for the new midpoint interchange. So good things going on with NDOT and for Boone County. Unfortunately, just not in Lebanon right now. Pavement resurfacing. We did finish resurfacing on East Street and Meridian Street last week. The contractor is working on their final punch lists as weather permits. Hope to have all that stuff wrapped up probably next week as the weather will allow. On that note, community crossings for this year, for next year, We have completed our execution of the NDOT LPA agreement that has been forwarded back to NDOT for their final review and execution, which should be sometime towards the end of the year. We should receive that back. Bidding documents for all of our projects, as you have released us on, have been published, and we will be opening those bids at your first meeting in December on the 9th. Keep in mind, we have till April 15th to get all of our work under contract, and we have till 2021 to complete that work. 18 months total for construction there. Other work, unit price material bids, for the street department. Those bidding documents have also been published, and we will be opening those bids at your December 9th meeting. Sunbrook and Sunbrook Villas, all the curbs are complete. They're snug, resting under blankets right now, but we'll be pulling those blankets off sometime next week as we begin asphalt work out there. We will have to keep the entrance partially closed as there are utility pole relocations that have been delayed just due to utility coordination work between Lebanon Utilities and the other private utility providers that are on those poles. But that is scheduled to happen. Probably will be sometime in the spring before that work is done. But the developers assured me they're moving forward with the paving. They're moving forward with pulling model permits, which we should see in the next few weeks. That secondary plat and bonds will be before you for your November 25th meeting for consideration there, and that will free up those building permits to come. On one note, an older project, Riley Ridge, I did get some data from the developer today. Happy to report, of the 85 homes that are approved in that subdivision, they pulled permits on 35, and I'm happy to report the minimum price point of all these new homes is $215,000. Which is significantly higher than they had originally forecasted. So a lot of good things happening out there and some people making good investments in our community. Our Brownfield Grant Program Phase 1 studies are moving forward on various sites throughout the city, and that's all grant money that we are spending at this point. I also did get an update from the Culver's developers. They've had to push back their opening to mid-January. I think they were originally planning to be open by December. Obviously, if you're familiar with the site and the work that's been completed, we knew that wasn't going to happen, but they did confirm today that there's been some delays in their framing process, and they're targeting a mid-January opening at this point. And the last thing on my updates for you is our PASER ratings. Our pavement asset management plan is moving forward. We're scheduled to have that finalized this month. It will be compliant with all the LTAP and NDOT requirements and be filed by the 1st of December to make us eligible for 2020 funding from NDOT. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Okay. There's a lot of good information there. Next up is Planning Department. Oh, no reports tonight for Ben. He was in the meeting I was just in. Next will be Street Department and Stormwater Department. Dave Newell.
How you doing tonight? It's not snowing, so we're happy. We had the brush and chipper truck out, very busy, other than yesterday, and probably this week won't be out a lot. We've also had our leaf machines out. We run a little bit behind with the holidays; they always throw us off. But next week we'll catch up, be good to go. Hopefully all the leaves come down with this weather, and we just knock them out and we're done. That's the plan. We were out salting the streets yesterday on the holiday, but I had 4 guys come out, Craig, Tim, Tom, and Seth. I want to give them a thanks because we have 10 trucks, we have 4 out. I mean, that's all we had set up, so we did the whole city with under half of our setup, but we got it done. It just took 5 hours, but took a little longer, but we got it done. Also, thanks to the park, I mean, downtown looked pretty good too, and I know they had to pull people out as well, so not ideal, but hey, we'll take it. We received 186 calls since our last meeting. 35 of those were for brush, 8 for recycling and trash. No shock, 49 of those for leaves. It's leaf season, but 9 walk-ins, 1 dead animal, 2 for water standing, 1 for a low limb we took care of out in the annexation part, 1 for a stolen bicycle, and 2 for potholes. But that's all we have. We're just trying to wrap up leaf season and get it going.
Thank you, Dave. Any questions for Dave from the board?
I see you had the new snowplow out. How'd it work?
We had both the new trucks out, and try a little bit of trial and error on them, but we're getting them figured out.
Okay, great.
That's the best way to get it. It's just a small storm like this to get us, but we're ready. We'll get
Okay.
the other two, we're ready. But they did great, they really did.
Good.
I heard we had an issue on one of the old ones that we're getting rid of too, right?
Yeah, I pulled it up there to put material in it. It just kind of went by where I thought I was going to stop, and brakes were out, so.
Yep.
Good call.
That's why we're replacing them.
Both trucks we're getting rid of, with these coming in, both have brake problems, so it's like, well, it's time to, they've been good trucks, just time to move on.
All right, we'll get the paperwork and get that one declared surplus.
Yeah,
The second
okay.
one. Good.
All right.
Any questions from the public? All right, thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Next up is Communications and Community Development, Joe LePage.
Good evening, everyone. We have just 3 tiger statues left that will go in municipal buildings, and so they are being wrapped up. They're all in the hands, the capable hands of area artists. And so once those are done, we have one that's going to be here in the municipal building. That's where that tiger will be. The other one will be at the Lebanon Police Department and Lebanon Fire. Their second tiger statue is being wrapped up. So we're looking forward to having those done. Once they are complete, probably in early December, we're going to have a public meet and greet with the tiger statues and with the artists who completed them. And so a chance to have some light refreshments and be able to meet some of our area artists who are Lebanon residents but gave of their skills to be able to put these statues into play. After that's over with, we'll be working with the folks from Gilman Hardware to be able to put those tigers on their mounts and to coat them against weather and graffiti, things like that, before going off into the various municipal locations throughout our community. A reminder that all the schools still have theirs, and we still have some that we're distributing to not-for-profits. And so our Tiger Trail will be 20 tigers strong. And so after they're on their mount, we'll have a little plaque. We've asked the artists to complete kind of an artist profile. What was their inspiration and their medium of choice, that sort of thing. And so that will be also affixed to the statues themselves. And so folks can be able to see the person that painted it and be able to see kind of what they were thinking when they painted it. So trying to give an inside look there. And so again, that meet and greet will be, we're looking at early December for that. So doing that. Speaking of artwork, just today we were messaging back and forth with CSX. And CSX has okayed us to be able to do some artwork on overpasses and bridges within our community. And so if you're familiar with CSX and the way they go through town, there are several areas, several different canvases that we can use and really kind of brighten up our community. And so this is a way to call all artists right now. We have several that have done the statues, but those that want to get involved, please shoot me a message. My first name is Joe, J-O-E, my last name LePage, L-E-P-A-G-E, at lebanon.in.gov. Let me know that you're interested in putting together one of these murals. Some can be interactive, some can just be random beautification. But again, if you look through town, there are several different areas within our community with the Big Four Trail, Harney Elementary, off of State Road 32, right there at one of our gateways. I mean, a lot of different places where we can add some color, vibrancy, and culture. And so we look forward to doing that with the help of CSX. Still waiting on NDOT to let us know if they've okayed, give us the blessing on the mural that we have for under the overpass of I-65. They may, instead of giving us the okay, may make us jump through a couple more hoops, but regardless, we like the art concept, and we like the fact of being able to add some artwork to the bridge under, or the I-65 underpass there at the Big Four Trail. And so what that could inspire other folks to do, we're looking forward to that as well. A variety of different topics are being discussed on our Love in Lebanon podcast. Most recently, we talked to Chris Canal with Backroads Barbecue, a new restaurant on State Road 32. Chris and his family moved here about 3 years ago. Food distributor, wanted a great spot, and so from a business perspective, he moved the family into business to Lebanon, but then kind of got with some buddies, including the master chef over at Rick's Boatyard, and so incentivized him to come here in Lebanon. And so they're going to open on November 16th, and so on the latest version of the Love in Lebanon podcast, we talked to Chris about different things and what menu items are going to be offered, and then why settle down in Lebanon for not only his family, but also from a business perspective. It's an up-and-coming community. He was excited about it, and so he talks more about that in the podcast. The previous episode details the day in life of Brent Binge, who's with Kenmar Development. If you're familiar with some of the buildings that are now starting to come up out of the ground there at State Road 32, the Lebanon Gateway Marketplace project that'll be Logan's and Moe's and Burger King and hotel. Brent talks about that development and kind of how he goes through it. It's not like the game of Sims, if you're familiar with, remember the PlayStation days where you could put buildings in random places. He talks about it's kind of like that, but also just kind of what goes into his metrics to be able to set up in a community. Also, he talks a little bit about what we're looking at for what we call the old Holiday Inn property. So he talks about that and how excited he is to be able to activate that piece of property, that acreage there in Lebanon. And so being able to take it next level. So all that's on the podcast. You can go to iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play. You can subscribe. And so when we have new episodes about once a week, they'll come right to your device, and you can be able to listen and get the inside track, to be in the know of what's going on within Lebanon. And finally tonight, before the end of the year's out, the goal is to have our next Lebanon Legend video to you. That's Drew Powell, actor Drew Powell of Gotham, briefly an episode on The Office, talks about a variety of different things, including growing up in Lebanon. And so we'll have, that's already been shot, that's in our building right now. But that is all that we have as far as previously interviewed Lebanon legends, and so we're looking for others. And so if you have some folks, I know there are on the list, Rick Mount, Doug Jones, some of those other folks, now Isaac Harker as well, being able to interview some of those folks and be able to talk about how they are really being a Lebanon legend, representing Lebanon well after they leave home. And so we look forward to kind of that next round of Lebanon legends from the communications department.
Thank you, Joe. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. That concludes department head reports. On to old business. I don't have anything on my agenda. Anything from the board?
None.
Okay. Then move on to new business then. First item up is the Drug Task Force interlocal agreement. Chief Morgan, can you come explain this to us, please?
I'm not sure that is it the Board of Works who is going to, okay, because when the attorneys, they said it was the council. So I handed out the old agreement and the new one to the council, but I can bring these up for you guys to review. Do you want to see them?
So I guess I didn't catch this. So
for interlocal agreements, the statute either requires it to be approved by the fiscal body and then the mayor, or to be approved by the attorney general. So generally, we go through the council and then have the mayor sign it.
okay. So I guess, so we'll just explain it briefly, because I guess we'll do it again at city council, but explain just what it was, what we're talking about.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Chief. That will mean move on to street closure request for the downtown Christmas event. Ms. Krulik?
Good evening. I have two events that I need to do street closures for. So the first one would be our Small Business Saturday, which would be November 30th. We need road closure on Meridian between 32 and Main Street, just that small section. We're going to have a live reindeer that day. So want to make it safe for the reindeer and the patrons that come down. So that's my first one.
Any questions? I mean, it's already closed right now. It seems to be functioning fine. So, what time would that one you say?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
It would be from noon to 4.
Noon to 4.
Noon to 4.
Doesn't have time for setup, Chrissy?
Yes, it's pretty easy to set those reindeer up.
Okay.
Just take them off the truck and put
Okay,
them in the
then
bin.
would entertain a motion to approve a street closure request on November 30th on Meridian Street between State Road 32 and Main Street, West Main Street, from noon to 4 p.m.
I'll make a motion, we approve the closure of Meridian Street from 32 to Main Street on November 30th for the small business
Saturday.
From noon to 4.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, that street closure is approved.
Okay. And the second event for the Heart of Lebanon is Christmas on the Square. It's going to happen on Saturday, December 7th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Just wanted to tell you a little bit about the event. We're going to have feature some of our farmer market vendors. So it'll be a farmer's market, a sweet market. We'll have Christmas goodies like cookies, popcorn, baked goods, jams, pie filling, pies, apples, and mulled wine. So lots of goodies that you can purchase. You can take your photo in our giant inflatable snow globe. We'll have the live reindeer again at that event. We'll have a kids area that has a fake snow maze that they can go through and play in the fake snow, and also a snowball fighting area. So that should be fun for the kids and maybe some of the adults. The library will be open for a movie and a craft and writing letters to Santa from 4 to 6. We'll have a gingerbread stroll. We've asked local bakers to create some gingerbread creations, and we'll feature those in the windows of some of the businesses. So we'll have a map where families can walk around to the different businesses and view some gingerbread creations and vote on which one is their favorite, and the top 3 that are selected will get a donation to the charity of their choice. So that'll be something that'll be featured all of the month of December too as well. Inside the courthouse rotunda, we'll have performances by the Black Box Theater, Pixie Playhouse, Boone County Youth Orchestra, crowning of the Snowflake Princess, along with some hot chocolate before you head back outside in the cold. The Christmas light volunteers have offered to light up the alley. So they'll be lighting up the alley between Merle Norman's and the ballet studio. So there'll be some nice Christmas lights there. The Heart of Lebanon will be handing out the gloves collected by the community in our Cold Hands, Warm Heart glove drive. So, and you can still drop those, if anyone has those to donate, they can drop those off at our Heart of Lebanon office at 103 East Main Street. And we'll hand those out the day of the event. They can also, of course, visit the downtown businesses and restaurants during the event. The community piano will be rolled out into the street, so members of the community can bless the crowd with some Christmas carols that they might want to play on there. The Lebanon High School Madrigals are going to sing for us while we await the Christmas parade that the Parks Department puts on, so we're thankful for that. And then once Santa arrives, we'll have the Christmas tree lighting, and he'll be available in the courthouse for kids to tell him what they want for Christmas. So it's going to be a lot of fun. The street closure that we'll need for that, we need a partial street closure on Meridian from the south end of the plaza to the Washington Meridian Street intersection. As well as the Washington Street from the alley at Periwinkles west to Washington Street, or Washington Street, Meridian Street intersection. We're going to try to keep that intersection open and just use those 2 sections of the street. We want that closed starting at 2 for setup until 9 p.m. And then the remaining section of Meridian Street, so from the plaza south to Main Street, we want to close that at 4. We want that area to be open for the businesses downtown that are located on Meridian Street from 2 to 4. Merle Norman's closes at 4, so we wanted to be courteous and give them some parking right there on their side of the street.
Okay.
So, so that from 4 to 9, so that section.
So it's just on Meridian and Washington Street then?
Yes.
Okay.
Just so the event will be on Meridian, and then around the corner on Washington Street will be the kids area with the library and Periwinkles. So it'll be a nice kids
You're
area.
going to be able to fit all those activities in that 2 blocks there?
Huh?
You can fit all those activities in that 2 blocks there, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, very
We
good.
are.
There's like a lot of stuff. It's great. Got
Well,
a
we're
big event planned.
utilizing the library and the rotunda and lots of spaces. So.
Should be a lot of fun for a lot of families. So I'm not going to repeat what Misty said. Everybody clear on that? So motion to approve the street closure request from the Heart of Lebanon for the Christmas on the Square event.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, very good. Looking
Thank
forward.
you.
And that was December 7th, correct?
December 7th from 4 to 8.
From 4 to 8.
And that
Great.
is the event.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, that concludes what I have for new business. Anything from the board? Okay, we'll move on to the claims. We'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we approve the claims.
We have a motion to approve the claims. Is there a second?
Second the motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Claims are approved. Any announcements, discussion? Okay, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, we are adjourned. City council meeting will begin at 7:15.